name is Iris Caprioni. I am here in northern New Jersey, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have two children, a senior in college and a senior in high school. It's an exciting year, and I'm a Relive distributor. These products came into our lives over 9 years ago, and we started, the four of us, for basic nutrition. We thought we were pretty healthy, and we thought we'd, just try to continue staying healthy. But when you're, for me, when I was sick and, quote unquote, sick and tired my whole life, so that was my norm. So I thought I was okay, but not until I got these products in. I'll share with what's gone on with me, and then I'll go on with my husband. With me, prior to Relive, prior to 9 years ago, I was suffering for years with migraines. I would get them when the weather changed, when the barometric pressure changed. It was hormonal also, it was premenopausal, and so I did not leave the house without my Excedrin migraine in my pocketbook, in the car. Literally, I would not leave unless I had it, because once those headaches started, I was done. A friend of mine one summer, just before we started, shared that she had this new venture and she wanted to show me what she was doing, and I loved this, my friend Elaine, and I said, sure, I'll see what you're doing. Went to an evening presentation, heard different stories, and I thought, well, looks like it's not going to hurt me. Let me try. That's how it started. In 2 weeks, I could tell something was going positively on with my body. I was starting to feel better, and I couldn't understand it. That first month did not get that headache. Second month didn't get that headache. That's when the rest of my whole family went on these products, and I knew that I was never going to be without it. So now, as my results went, those headaches are virtually gone. Those migraines are gone. I'll get a headache occasionally, but it's nothing like it used to be. I'm also hypoglycemic, been one since a teen, and my sugar issues are terrible. When my sugars would drop, I'd get very weak and shaky and very nauseous, never passed out, but pretty close to it. These shakes have leveled my system. I don't get that anymore. It's just great, and I can even have a shake on an empty stomach, which I wasn't even be able to take vitamins anymore because I would have to have a full stomach before I could even put a vitamin in. I can drink this shake on an empty stomach, and it does not affect my sugars. I also have plantar fasciitis in both feet and heel spurs. The heel spurs brought on the plantar fasciitis, and I could hardly. This is in the beginning of my Relive adventure. I could hardly walk, and then a couple months later, then I realized I'm walking and I don't have my orthotics in my shoes and I feel fine. If I'm on my feet for a long time, once in a while I'll feel that bone spur, but nothing like it. Now with my husband, prior to Relive, it was about 4 or 5 years prior to Relive, he started getting gout. He got gout up to 4 times a year. He's had gout in both big toes, both ankles, and both elbows. The elbow was the first diagnosis, and it also infected. And it was the pain was just absolutely incredible. He could not walk. He couldn't go to work. He couldn't anything. He didn't eat. He just laid there and said, don't touch me, don't anything. So now we start on Relive. Now we didn't hear a gout story, but I knew that this was great nutrition. And so we all started on our products, basic nutrition, drinking these shakes. Now, fast forward 9.5 years, he had only gout one time, and it was right after the passing of his mom. And with that stress and everything, it brought on an episode, but he told me it wasn't nearly what it used to be. And after that healed, that was 2 years ago, he's gout-free. And we're healthy. Both my children are athletes in school. My daughter ran cross country in high school, and now she's on the Rutgers University Taekwondo team and the skiing team, drinking her Provantage when she just raced in all winter up at Hunter and Killington. She did great. Her muscles she recouped so fast from her races, and her muscles were. She was tired at the end of the week, but she could still go, not like everybody else was exhausted. And for those reasons. And, Bill, for so many even more, we will never, ever stop drinking these shakes. And I will never stop sharing this because this change. My friend, and this is why I do this, is because my husband's not in pain anymore. My friend shared with me about these products. She had no idea that my husband was dealing with gout. And because of her sharing this with me, my husband is virtually pain-free. I will never stop sharing these shakes.
That's great, Iris. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next we're heading over to Iowa. I have with us tonight Sarah Yoder. Sarah, we'd love you to come on and share.
Hi, Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Go right ahead.
I am Sarah Yoder from Iowa, and I'd love to share about Relive. We were introduced to Relive in November of 2006. At first, we were skeptical, but we listened to the presentation and we started the product the same evening. Before Relive, I was taking my daily vitamins, but I was still having sleeping issues because of joint pain from 3 close-to-death accidents in my early life, and also arthritis in my feet and legs, painful varicose veins. After the presentation, I set aside the vitamins, drank a shake, went to bed, woke up the next morning feeling refreshed, and I had slept through the whole night. We bought into the business to get the product at the best price. By the summer of 2007, I was again able to be working in the garden without the pain in my feet and legs, and later the varicose veins were also a non-issue. But in August of 2008, I was diagnosed with melanoma skin cancer. It's the fastest growing skin cancer. The biopsy showed it was stage 0. They said it's nothing to worry about, just have the spot removed, and everything should be okay. I had the spot removed, and we sent it to the lab, and then they said, you need a 3-centimeter clean margin around the infected area. And so that was scheduled to be done October 2nd, which was just a little under 5 weeks later. I was also asked to stay off the Relive product for up to 10 days to the time of the surgery. I could feel my body just draining up the energy. And when the removal was done, it showed that the melanoma had advanced to Clark's level 3 out of the 5 stages. And they still didn't have enough margin. The surgeon told me the next step would be, after I heal 8 to 10 weeks, they would remove more tissue and more lymph nodes, take the lymph nodes out in the infected area. And he said, hopefully we'll get it before it gets you. My thought was, if it was nothing to worry about in less than 5 weeks later, it's already at Clark's level 3. I'm not going to be around 8 to 10 weeks. I upped my product, stayed focused, and listened to lots of stories, and I was back for the removal just under 6 weeks later, not the 8 to 10 weeks. The report then showed that all the tissue and all the lymph nodes that had been removed were totally clean. In November of 2012, I switched doctors and just wanted to get a second opinion. And, of course, I had more extensive testing done. And at that time, they said with the body scan, they found that I had large lymph nodes in my lower back area and in my neck area. And then the question was, is it lymphoma? But the biopsy showed no cancer. But the enlarged lymph node in the neck area was so close to the aorta valve, and it was put off till March of 2013. And I had already upped my shakes, but when I heard they wanted to do a biopsy of my neck, I also upped the Lunar Rich X capsules to 12 a day. And then the surgeon went in, and he couldn't even find the enlarged lymph node and stitched me back shut. By August of 2013, when we did more double testing, the lymph nodes were shrinking, and they didn't have any more trouble with that. And then just a couple of weeks ago, on March 13th, I had my blood work done again, and it was good. I had a mammogram done, and it's the first time in 4 years that I didn't have to go back and have a retake on it. So I'm just really thankful for my life, and I'm thankful for Relive. Thank you, Bill.
Sarah, thank you. Appreciate you sharing what's happened for you. Thanks so much.
It's been a blessing. Thank you.
I can tell. Well, next we're going to go right here local. Patty and I are down in Florida. We have a good friend, Kathy Quarles, and her whole family's had a variety of results. And Kathy, we'd love you to share a little bit what's happened with your gang. So, Kathy, if you came in, let's see, if you hit star 6, you would need to do it again, and hopefully you came in on the speaker line. Let me try something. Oh, they were me. So, Kathy, I don't know what's happened, but we can't hear you at the moment. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll go on and we'll try to pick up Kathy if you're listening. Maybe you'll need to try to call in again and come in on the speaker line with the star sign. Thanks. Okay, well, we're going to head over to Missouri. And, wow, what a story Cliff and Beth Bachman have. Precious people have a real heart to reach out and make a difference in other people's lives, and they have a powerful story of their own. Cliff, we'd love you to share.
Can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, Cliff, go right ahead.
Well, like Bill said, I am Cliff Bachman. I'm an engineer with an information technology background. My wife, Beth, has a background in physical therapy and as an athletic trainer. We live in St. Louis with our 4 children, and we've homeschooled all of our kids. So that's just a little bit about us. But our first introduction to Relive was at the international conference that the company does every summer, and that was back in 2003, and it's hard for me to believe that it's been well over a decade since we were introduced to this company. We were there that night just to be polite, but we were there to say no. And we were going to do that just as politely and consistently as we could. But I'm forever grateful that we didn't do that. Because after about 2.5 years of faithful and consistent use of these products, I like to tell people I got my life back. And I say that because prior to Relive, Beth struggled with frequent and intense migraine headaches and severe digestive problems that required her to be on a very strict food rotation diet. She dealt with those issues for most of her adult life, but about the time that we were introduced to Relive, her OBGYN diagnosed her with full-blown osteoporosis, and that was primarily due to malabsorption problems. We all got started on the products, and like I said, it didn't happen for Beth overnight. But about 2 years into the products, Beth's migraines were almost a thing of the past. Her digestive problems were greatly improved, and she was actually able to reverse her osteoporosis with no medication whatsoever. And in fact, Bill, every member of our family has gotten great health results. But I was never more thankful for the Relive products than when I was diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma back in January of 2009. The long story short is that by dramatically increasing my products, I was able to transition from stage 3 cancer to complete remission in less than 90 days. And the Relive products played a huge role in my recovery. I've been in remission now for almost 6 years, and there isn't a day that goes by that we don't thank God for the Relive products and the company that manufactures and distributes them. But as good as our health results have been, we didn't wait to get our best results before we began to share this blessing with other people. Beth and I realized over 10 years ago that we had our hands on something truly phenomenal. And our very first month in business, the company sent us a check for $127. We watched that double the second month, and then it doubled again our third month by helping somebody else duplicate what we had already done ourselves. To our amazement, that $500 a month doubled to $1,000 a month, but we were astonished when it doubled again. In a calendar month, Beth and I earned over $2,500 in 4 different forms of income that Relive offers. And I mention that simply because I was still working about 50 hours a week for a Fortune 500 company here in St. Louis. But that additional income gave my wife the freedom to walk away from her career as a physical therapist to homeschool all 4 of our children. We've made a profit in our business every single month for over a decade, and we're more excited now than we were 10 years ago. My goal today is to help 1,000 cancer patients boost their immune systems and balance their pH, to give their bodies a fighting chance so they have the opportunity to do what I did, and that was transition from cancer patient to cancer survivor, to help these people get into remission, and just as important, to help them stay in remission. And when that happens, when we help 1,000 cancer patients get into remission and remain there, we will have financial security as well as the time freedom to help even more people. Long story short, Bill, Beth and I will be sharing Relive with others for as long as the good Lord gives us breath.
There you go. You had a pretty dramatic, some pretty dramatic results with Relive. I mean, you were on some pretty nasty chemotherapy, and it didn't tear you up. As I recall, you were using Relive all through that process, and you were able to avoid a lot of the nightmare problems that people have when they're going through chemo.
Amen.
What happened with you? Why don't you just mention that? What happened with you with Relive while you were doing chemo?
Well, the whole litany of side effects that they promised me were coming my way, they never really materialized. They told me I could expect fatigue, nausea, constipation, irritability, mouth sores, and, really my only side effect from chemotherapy, I lost my hair, and my hair actually began to grow back in before I completed the last 2 rounds of chemotherapy.
Wow.
Which never happens.
Now,
so
you
for somebody
your body.
that
you didn't just piddle around with Relive.
No, actually I was doing 9 hefty shakes a day.
Okay.
So
you got
with
very
that
serious.
with that kind of a boost, that allowed me to withstand the ravages of strong chemotherapy.
Yeah. Well, when someone tells you that you're in stage 3, and it was, as I recall, it was like a 9-centimeter tumor that they found when they initially found it. What a Christmas present you had that year.
Correct. Right. Yeah, a 9-centimeter tumor is about the size of your fist. And
okay.
It was literally dissolved in less than 90 days. But for chemotherapy to do that, you've got to consider the impact to the rest of your system. And this is why I flooded my body nutritionally, because I knew of the onslaught that was coming. But because of the value of this high-quality nutrition, I didn't suffer the side effects, and I got into remission in record time.
That's awesome, Cliff. Cliff, thank you for coming on. Well, before I let you go, obviously your cancer story is a huge one, but you had numerous other results. Why don't you just touch on some of the other things that you personally experienced as well?
Well, I guess the latest chapter in my Relive story actually involves the Lunarich X capsules. And I've recently had great results, and this will be something that will speak to you because of what you've been through recently. I was plagued for most of my adult life with chronic low back pain, and it was primarily due to muscle spasms. We had gotten low on our supply of Lunarich X capsules, and we were waiting for our order to arrive, and I was keeping a very, very severe muscle spasm in my lower back under control with double scoops of Arthefect a couple of times a day. The pain was there, but it was tolerable. But then our order arrived and we got our capsules. I took 12 Lunarich X capsules with a huge glass of water. I waited about 6 hours, and I did the exact same thing. I took 12 more Lunarich X capsules, big glass of water, and I went to bed. The next morning, I woke up, and the muscle spasm was gone. It was like, what muscle spasm? I was a little bit stiff, and it took about a day for me to walk the stiffness out, but I had never had anything deal with muscle spasms that severe, that effectively, and that quickly. And that even includes Flexeril and Vicodin combined. Bill, it was absolutely amazing to me. And what we have with these Lunarich X capsules, we've only begun to touch the tip of the iceberg. I think they're going to be phenomenal for a lot of people.
And they are. The results are pouring in. Cliff, thank you. Appreciate you coming on and sharing so much. Thank you. Well, let's see if Kathy was able to make it back in. Kathy Quarles, if you've gotten in, we would certainly love to have you come on and share.
Can you hear me, Bill?
Ah, yes. Wonderful.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, hi. It's good to be on the call. I am Kathy Quarles from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. And our journey started with Relive products about 15 years ago. And the reason that I decided to try the products was because my son was getting sick constantly. He probably, since he was 2 years old, had been on antibiotics more than he was off them throughout the years. And when he turned around 5 years old, I was just tired of the doctor just putting him on another antibiotic, and they said that it looked like they would have to schedule him for adenoid surgery to have his adenoids removed because he had so many sinus infections. So it was at that same time that I heard about the Relive products and decided, well, it's not going to hurt him, and the extra nutrition could probably help him. So I started him and myself on the products at the same time, and what I saw was very amazing to me because he was just, again, starting into another infection, and his nose just started to drain clear after a couple of days of being on the products. And he has never had another sinus infection ever since then, and he never had to have his adenoids removed or tonsils or anything else. So it's been a real huge blessing to see that happen. And I also, as I said, started on the products at the same time, where I thought I was pretty healthy. I ate good and exercised, but I could never swallow vitamin pills, so I thought this might be easy also to just take as extra nutrition. But I saw greater energy within the first week, more clarity in my mind and better thinking. And after probably a couple weeks, I noticed my own allergies that I battled with every single day were improving to the point where I no longer have allergies at all throughout the year. I'm not constantly blowing my nose and trying to deal with all the symptoms from the allergies, and it's been huge for me. Also, my floaters in my eyes are gone. I breathed through menopause, and also I had lower back pain from a car accident that I had been in my late teens that had gone away. So I was so excited, but of course my husband was the holdout. He just thought he didn't need these products, and so when he got the flu and nobody else in the family got the flu, he decided to get on the shakes, and he bounced back much more quickly than he normally would. And then when he went to the doctor and the doctor told him his cholesterol numbers were climbing higher, he decided to get serious about taking them. So as he did so, we went to a Relive event where he heard a story about a gentleman who got great results with hepatitis C. And that was something my husband had been diagnosed with in his late 20s. And his enzyme levels were about 3 times what the normal range should be. And the doctor was really telling him he needed to do something and start him on the treatment and do the biopsy thing, which my husband was really scared about. So he constantly tried to avoid that route. But it was amazing. After he was on the products, he had his next gastro appointment a few months later, and his enzyme numbers started to come down. Well, fast track a couple more years after that, his enzyme numbers had landed all in the healthy, normal range, and they remained there, and he has great energy. He has no symptoms of hepatitis C whatsoever. He's never had to do anything medicinally for that. And he also got great results with acid reflux that he had dealt with for a long time as well. So, I mean, with all those results, we just would never stop taking these products. They just give us our body the fuel that it needs every single day and keeps us going, so we will never stop taking them.
There you go. And I've heard your testimony a number of times, and there's a whole pile of other issues that you didn't even touch. Your family has just seen so many different results with it. Kathy,
yes.
Thank you for coming on and sharing.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you. Well, I have one more guest for you, and what a pleasure, what an honor for me to get to introduce you to Kathy O'Loughlin. And Kathy her title is Presidential Bronze Ambassador. Guys, it just means that she's not only had some good results, but she's touched a lot of people's lives. She's been able to share the Relive, make a business of helping other people, and it's grown all over the place. And what a joy Kathy is. She has a real heart to help people, and we have a real love for Kathy and Bill. So, guys, we'd love you to come on and share.
Hey, Bill. It's Kathy O'Loughlin here from Chicago, Illinois. Thanks so much for having me on your call tonight. I can never get enough of those wonderful stories. It's been such a pleasure to hear people share. You know, our journey with Relive began 24 years ago. Bill was coaching our 10-year-old's basketball team and dealing with osteoarthritis from a original high school football injury. We have since come to learn that surgery removed his lateral meniscus, and by the time he was 38, osteoarthritis had set in. So he heard some stories about these great products. More importantly, he saw the compensation plan. So he was very excited about getting on the product, and he loved what he saw because he knew that if you did this, you would earn this. And Bill, as an attorney, was really unhappy. Even in settlement, people went away unhappy. He was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week sometimes. I was home raising 2 girls, teaching full-time, and our life was a mess. And he was really unhappy. And he had all of his life wanted to be an attorney and realized it just didn't turn out to be what he thought it was going to be. But the results with Relive were phenomenal. The swelling, immobility, pain started to subside within 3 weeks. In October, he had gone to give blood for a local hemophiliac family, which he had been doing regularly, and they told him he was anemic. He came home, started Relive the next month, and by December, he was back giving blood. I have to be honest with you, when he brought the products home, I thought he was crazy. I wasn't interested in the product or the business, but he was patient with me. And within 3 weeks, when I saw the difference, I couldn't deny that it had to be the Relive product. Got on it myself. I would have told people I was healthy, but I was dealing with gastritis issues. I had been on a prescription for over a year that was just masking the symptoms, but not really helping. I had low energy. I was, hitting that snooze button in the morning, falling asleep during the 10 o'clock news, and, dealing with the stress of raising a family and teaching full time. Within the first month of being on the product, noticed the energy. My stomach improved. I couldn't believe it was Relive. But within 4 months, I was literally symptom-free of all my stomach issues. The female concerns that had plagued me my entire life were a thing of the past. I've gone on to enjoy incredible health for the last 24 years. No sick visits, no prescription medications from my physicians. And we were blessed to start these products in around the holiday season. And, of course, by Thanksgiving and Christmas time, our family said, hey, you guys are looking different, and we want to know what you're doing and how do we get it. And that's really how our business began. We simply started sharing it with friends and family. In January of 1991, we made over $1,200 primarily retailing the products. But within 90 days, as those results began to build and people wanted to be able to get the products at a margin for themselves and start sharing it with their families, our business just grew. Within 18 months, we had matched my teaching salary. In 2.5 years, we were able to double that. Bill got really serious, and in the next 2.5 years, we reached the presidential level where we were earning over $8,000 a month in our overrides alone. We've won a number of cash bonuses and trips. We've been blessed to be able to travel the world. And the best thing about the income, it's all related to the difference you've made for others. We were able to raise our girls, send them to parochial schools. They graduated debt-free from college, paid for 2 weddings in 13 months, and today I have education funds for my 4 grandchildren. As a matter of fact, tonight I'm up at my daughter's where I have 3 grandkids that I babysit for every Monday, and they needed a little extra help, so I got to come up early and be with them. Relive's just given us the time freedom, financial freedom, and family freedom that we were looking for. In our professions, we had potential for good income, but not for the lifestyle or the family freedom that we really desired. And because of Relive, we've been able to achieve that. We love what we do. We love this company, and we are Relive lifers.
Absolutely. It's been our joy to get to know you guys. Every time we see you, there's just that radiance that comes from both you and Bill. And I think of Bill as a former attorney who was not real happy doing what he was doing. And the future didn't look real bright, continuing to work those long hours. And now you just see him smiling and one happy camper. So the freedom that you guys gained was priceless.
Absolutely.
Well, so he had a background as an attorney. Now, what was your background, Kathy?
I've been a special education teacher and worked with kids all the way from preschool to college during my career. Education is certainly a passion, and it's a passion that you can incorporate in your Relive business. That's what we do. We teach and train others to do what we're doing.
There you go. So that was your background. And now you're both full-time relivers.
Absolutely.
And so what does the life of a full-time reliver consist of?
Well,